Well, Carlyle Thayer is an emeritus professor of politics and visiting fellow at the School of Humanities and Social Sciences at the Australian Defence Force Academy. He joins us now from Canberra. Thanks very much for being with us. So we mentioned earlier the news about the depleted uranium that Ukraine is going to get from the United States. For those of us who aren't familiar with this, just talk to us about what is depleted uranium, what it's used for, and the kind of damage that it can do on the battlefield.
Right. Well, it's an end product of enriched uranium. It's much heavier than steel. It's much heavier than lead. It forms the tip of projectiles, anti-tank armor in this particular case, that when it hits a target actually hardens rather than spreads, penetrates and bursts and sends up a plume, and is highly effective in penetrating thick armor.
And is there a risk, because this has been called quite controversial, the Russians have wasted no time in criticizing this move. Is there a risk of a red line being crossed here, perhaps, in terms of how Russia might react?
Well, since March, the United Kingdom has provided tens of thousands of depleted uranium shells for its Challenger 2 tank. And now the United States is going to provide them. So it's been used on the battlefield already. And I think the debate to answer the Russian queries is that for large areas, there's no radiological threat. The kind of scientific evidence seems to be for ingesting or breathing in or handling fragments on an individual level. But on a battlefield, the IAEA, the International Atomic Energy Agency, said it's no radiological threat to the population.
Could this move also be seen as a response to the fact that Ukraine's backers in the West, particularly the United States, are not really satisfied at this point, if I could put it that way, with the progress that Ukraine has been making on the battlefield?
Right, and I think there are two kinds of pressures: to get Ukraine to move faster and to disarm the domestic critics that say this is rather expensive. So the U.S. has already put in cluster munitions. They're now doing this. This part of a larger package with more Javelin anti-tank missiles. And I think it's to give the Ukraine army a greater ability to keep punching ahead. They've made around in Donetsk and Zaporizhzhia some minor gains, but clearly on the American side, they want them to go faster. So that's why Secretary Blinken shows up unexpectedly, offers a total aid package, including military aid, of around $1 billion US.
Good to get your perspective on this. Carlyle Thayer in Canberra. Thanks very much for being with us.